listen, I'll put it this way, everyone on the planet is gifted. They have some sort of gift, they have a calling, but not everybody's doing it, what they would love to do, and really love to do. I don't even know myself sometimes sort of what I'm putting into them. You want it to be 100%, you wouldn't throw out something that isn't. But I don't know if people realise the amount of work you're putting into it. And it is a lot of, it is an amount of work. I'm not blowing myself up or blowing smoke up my own, but it is a lot of work. People would say, why are you doing it then if it's a struggle? But the whole thing is, why is anybody doing anything? These are things you have to do if they're there for you to do. If you get in a drift, if you know, like for instance, you're using a camera, you know that this is part of a calling for you. It's like the guy who's driving again to work every day probably knows in his heart and soul that this is not for me. But he hasn't gotten the opportunity yet, or hasn't found out yet that something else is. I know hundreds of people who hate their work, hate their job. They'd rather be doing something else. But it's really, really difficult to say no to X amount of money every Friday for something that you hate, but still it keeps you. You have to go back next week because you've got to feed kids, you've got to keep the house, you've got to do all that stuff. It's unfortunate. It is for everyone. Anyway, the world isn't. The world is okay. It's the people that are making people do things like this. That most of these jobs and most of these things we do in the long run are a waste of time anyway. It's life, and it's the way life goes, and we have no control over it. We do it. I used to make up a lot of stories, so I was probably pretty good at it at the beginning. But I think I was about 14 or 15, maybe. I suppose I continued on from there slowly. I could write the first 2 lines about anything, really, and then slowly bring in what I wanted to bring in. So it's like you're not revealing your secret in the first 2 lines. You just try to follow what these 2 lines or 3 lines are about before you start to realise that, well, it's not really about those 2 lines at all. It's just you're moving around. You're I won't say fooling, but you're trying to draw somebody into a song rather than hit them with the main story at the beginning. Just a nice little kind of ramble. We'll have a ramble before we get to the real part, that sort of thing. I don't know if I'm telling stories, or maybe I'm telling them to myself, because I already know them, and I know the answers to them, but I don't know what other people think of them. So therefore I wouldn't really go around saying, hey, I'm a songwriter, I'm a musician, and I'm this and that. You've got to listen for yourself, find out. Listen to it, and if you like it, you'll come back for more. I see it as a sort of, I suppose a calling, but I don't know if it's just the songwriting that's the calling. It's the whole. It's the making of stories, or I wouldn't say I was inventing them, but I invent some of them, invent lines in them that brings them together. But basically it's everyday life. If you look up the road and you see one guy falling home, you see somebody else driving by, you see a plane going across the sky. I wonder where they're going. I know where he's going. I don't know. They're probably going to the supermarket. So everything is going on all around you at one time, and birds are flying over, and the sun is up to shine as a cloud comes across. it's like a life going on around you all the time. You're sitting there, I'm sitting here, I'm doing all the talking. I don't know about what, but I'll probably get a song out of this. Probably get 10. Mightn't be very good, but you'd be surprised. Go buy my record. Yeah, I do get great satisfaction. So I love the song, and then maybe the next day I hate it. Not that I hate it, I just don't like it, love it as much as I loved it the day before. But I come back around to it. I mean, songs that I don't like today, I could like tomorrow. Or songs that I haven't listened to in a couple of years, I just don't particularly like them. I think to myself. Then I hear them and I say, "Hey, hang on a minute, that's not bad. That's a good lyric. It's a good turn. It gets me to where I wanted to get with the story in the first place." A song that's finished, for instance, it isn't really finished until it's heard. That's the difficult part.